What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Wednesday night live stream. Today we have the one and only Robert from askbrstv. How you doing, Robert?
Well, Devin, how are you today? Thanks for
E-
having me on.
Excellent, excellent. Anytime, buddy, anytime.
I guess the
Uh,
first Wednesday, right? Every month.
you betcha. So if you guys want to get your Robert fix, first Wednesday of the month, I've kind
That's
of
right.
roped him in as like a bit of a standing guest now because we have some good chats. I like it. Deuce Reef, Reggie, Jake V, Glenn, Luke at my tank. Welcome, guys.
Hello, boys. Thanks for joining us.
Yep. So today we're decided to do just kind of a random Q&A live stream. I like doing these once in a while instead of being like super topic focused. Just hit whatever questions come at us.
Because it's fun.
It is fun.
It's fun
It's
for
like
us, that's for sure.
it is fun. I like doing it. So it's a good way to roll. Before we get down to business, how's the tank coming, buddy? I know it's in the
Good, man.
works.
Real good. Yeah, we were just talking about it. So I ordered my plumbing parts, so it's like
Ooh,
it's becoming a reality. The water's not. I got like salt mix. I got all this. I even bought like 2-part.
really?
So yeah, it's becoming real, man. I'm excited for it. Yeah, once I get this next box, I'll have everything, man. I mean, I could have done it quick and gone to like the hardware store, but
Being
I want to
pretty
make it
pipe.
look nice, so I got some proper plumbing.
Nice. What color?
So yeah, man, it's good. I'm
Yeah.
excited. Probably, gosh, I'll get that next week. So hopefully the week after that, you
Nice.
know,
What?
yeah,
So
October for sure.
you bought your plumbing obviously not from the hardware store. Did you pick a color scheme?
Well, the sump is blue and the
Okay.
pipes are with the tank are already blue. So yeah, I bought blue pipe.
Nice.
But I think it'll end up being mostly black and gray, just
Uh,
because of the flex PVC.
yeah.
I'm just not sure how much like actual hard PVC I'm gonna run.
Mhm.
I'll find out. I got enough to do like the whole system in either or
Yep.
essentially. So I've got enough PVC. We're just gonna have to see how much I can get in there. I just don't know, man. It's so small, and I'm gonna have to just do it. I could have measured it all out, but it would have been way too tough to like get it down to the exact inch just by guessing.
That's fair. Well, that's pretty good though. Well, it's good to have X, right? Just in case you bug up a cut or something like that. You never know.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, you always order enough.
And
I
then
suppose I
extra.
just ordered like two sets worth. But I mean, in my defense, the Flex PVC, I actually had to order from somewhere because BRS doesn't carry it, so I had to order that from just like a plastic supply type place, and the roll was I think 20 feet.
Mhm.
It just worked out to be cheaper that way, and so I need like 4 feet max.
Isn't
So
it funny how that works? You like
uh,
the price of like a single foot versus like a roll. You're
yeah, it
like,
was
might as
50
well
or
buy a
60
roll.
bucks. It was a bummer. I had to, but whatever. Now I got Flex PVC, and it's 1 inch too, so it's like you use that for lots of stuff, or it should come in handy in the future.
Exactly. You can plumb all kinds of stuff. So if you guys in the chat have any specific questions, feel free to fire them our way. I did grab a couple that I was asked probably over the last few days just to compile some to start things off. And ironically, I actually did a live stream on this a week or two ago. So if you didn't watch that one, so the first one, what do you think is better, pellets or frozen food? Or what is your preferred one, Robert?
Well, I like frozen food, but pellet food. If it's dry food, I would choose pellet for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You can deliver more, nutrients per morsel,
Yep.
end up with less waste. Flake foods for like guppies and tetras, and that's about it. Just fish real small amounts, in a saltwater tank, or when you're trying to really deliver some nutrition that's in a high nutrient type environment. I think you're better off with a pellet for sure.
Yep. I'm a big fan of frozen. That's what my main food source is. Mainly because pellets, everything, most of it comes from frozen. So why not just take it straight from the source rather than dealing with all the processed bits of it?
Right.
So straight goodness.
Yep. And I mean, it's one of those things too, where the way you feed your tank is bioload. It's it's all connected. It's a circle of life there, and so you have to kind of gauge the amount of frozen food versus pellet food. Some tanks will handle frozen every day, where other tanks you're probably just gonna once a day with pellets is as far as you can go in terms of nutrient levels.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the feeding thing is kind of dynamic based on uh, you know uh, how strong your sort of
You're,
bioload bacterial foundation is in the tank.
yep, exactly. And the other part of it is how much are you exporting, right? If your nutrients are rising, you're feeding too much. If
Yeah,
you're having
filtration, I suppose. Yeah.
you're lacking nutrients, feed more. Nice simple way to think about it.
Yeah.
All right, so Frank needs some help with the Radeon G5 Blue AB Plus settings. 100% on all colors seems a bit bright. it's too bright, there's also a setting to do the overall intensity for like the full schedule, and you can use that one just to lower the overall intensity. You might have everything just at full 100%. So leave the slider bars at 100 and then lower the overall schedule intensity. Then you could use that to just kind of dim your tank
And
down a bit.
that does all the channels the same ratio, right? So
Yeah.
the overall versus the individual slider one.
Yeah. So think of
Yeah.
the individual color channels as like your mixer of the colors.
Yeah.
And think of the overall intensity as your full fixture output in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you.
That's a good way. Mikey Mucker, how reliable is the Alkatronic versus the Trident? I don't have a Trident, so I cannot comment on its reliability, but the Alkatronic has been solid for me. How about you? How's it? Have you used either Alkatronic or Trident?
You know, I've never used the Trident or the Alkatronic.
Yeah, it's
pH controllers. It's as far as I go.
Yeah, that's fair. It is nice to have an alkalinity tester.
Yeah, no, I think it would be. We'll see what kind of controller system goes on this next tank, and shoot where we're at with that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, have the ion director that's come in. I think there's going to be some neat stuff in that world of monitoring and control. So who knows where I'll end up? You know, it's going to be pretty hard not to set the tank up with an apex. So there will be that. You know, and that's just for the bare bones operation of everything. So we'll see. We'll see what it turns into. I'm excited.
Yeah, should be good. 321 Reefer, how are you liking the Cryptic reactor? So far, so good. I honestly don't know how I would fully gauge it because it's a reactor full of
What does it look like?
It is a very pretty reactor.
Yeah.
And you basically full of biomedia, and it's supposed to be like a dark zone. So the one benefit is you don't have to worry about algae or any other kind of funkiness growing on your media, so it kind of keeps it a little more pristine. And there's supposed to be some advantages to do it in the Cryptic zone. I don't really honestly know how I'd test it, but the tank's good. The tank looks happy, and I threw all my biomedia in it, so far so good.
There you go.
No. Best lighting for a 24 by 24 cube. Personally, I'd probably use an XR15. What'd you go with?
Well, it depends on what's going in the tank.
Yeah.
For sure. You know, Kessel A360 is a nice little compact light, gives you 24 by 24 for pretty much, you know, all the way up to a mixed reef.
Yep.
You know, reef brights alongside even an XR15 would be fun because you get the full nice spread and only have to use the one fixture in the middle. So yeah, it would just kind of depend on the goals, but Kessel's A360s and the Reef Bright XHOs are, they just put off a brilliant color. And, you know, when you can get the advantage of, you know, sort of the filling in the gaps that you're going to get with a T5 with an LED strip, well, we've kind of hit the nail on the head, you know?
Yep. How long? I think T5s are fading out, like especially with all the LEDs, how far they've advanced these days. So.
Well, I mean, it's been fading out for,
long time.
I don't know, you know, 10 years, however long it's been since, you know, LED took off. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to go away for good or not, you know. Like you said, the T5 strips, or excuse me, the LED strips, I think it's only begun to start in terms of like people building hybrids and filling it in. And T5 has kind of made it through. So I don't know. I think there might be a place for it. Some people love it, man, and won't get rid of it. So, I mean, if those people stick around, you know.
Well, even that though, like I know in Europe and some of these places, I don't even think you can get T5s anymore just because of the mercury and all the jazz in it. Like I think.
Yeah, I know. I got you.
I give them 5
Definitely
more years.
Some. Certainly more economical with with LEDs for sure.
Exactly. Philly, 40-gallon breeder, 2 AI Prime 16 HD. How long should I leave my lights on? Currently, I'm using the BRS light settings. How long to ramp up time? Personally, I usually leave my lights on 9 to 12 hours with about an hour of ramp on either end. So kind of that 10 to 12 hours max, 2 hours of ramping, you know, 9 to 10 hours of light time.
Yeah, I'm very similar. I just do, you know, an 8-hour peak period, and I'll do an hour ramp up, or hour ramp down. So it's 10 hours of total photo time. Yeah, that's pretty. I just always set them up like that. I haven't really changed far from it. I haven't deviated, and I've seen lots of interesting, like, you know, coming up with like a flat top all the way across. Or just I like to set it towards like an arc.
Yep.
So when you look at the graph, you've got sort of incremental time. So I say an hour ramp up, but it's almost like
2 hours.
Complete ramp up, ramp down, you know, when it's all said and done.
Just a big pyramid of your schedule. It's ramp all the way up and noon and back down.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It works. Glenn, I got a question. I have a big wall hammer. It's about 3 years old. Lots of branching hammers. The branches are doing great. The wall has been pissed for about 4 weeks. No major changes. I've never kept a wall hammer. Robert, I know you have.
Yes,
Yes,
I
yes,
have.
yes.
Treated it no different than a frog spawner or torch, or
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to say, man. It's really
Yeah.
hard to say. If everything else, it's always the tricky one when everything else in the tank is fine, and then one just goes up, right? It kind of points at pests, as opposed to like a chemistry issue, like water chemistry, because chemistry you'd obviously see it on everything.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's some corals that are like indicators, so don't rule out chemistry altogether.
Yeah.
But the first thing to do is, I would look for infections and pests at that point, because those are the things that can sort of affect it one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like a fish
Picking at it.
stealing fruit from it or bugging it, pissing it off somehow, stressing it out. Those are kind of the common situations where you'll have just one anomaly.
Mm-hmm. Nope, I'm with you on that one. Yeah, dipper coral, just a good way to check it, and if not, go through the whole slew of retests. Usually something's off, one thing's off, and it could be something that happened before, but likely you've had it for so long, I'm gonna assume there's something parameter-wise. So that or a pest or someone's picking at it.
Yep.
Gary, I have an innovative marine INT Nuvo 50. Was recommended to use a Radeon Gen 5 lights. Should I use two 15s or a single 30? Please advise. What tank do you have, Robert?
It's IM 50 gallon. Like if it's the lagoon, like it's like a 24 by 30, I think is the footprint. So that exact tank.
I thought so.
I would use the 2XR15s because you can get a little wider on them. But I think the 30 will do it just fine. I'm trying to think.
INT 50.
I think the front to back dimension is it 24 by 30 by 20, or is it 24 by 24 by 20 tall?
Yeah, it might be 24 by 24 by 20. In that case, honestly, you could get away with a single 15.
Oh yeah, you could. Technically, you could. Yeah, if you've got like you didn't want to put SPS in it essentially, or just do like SPS up top. I think you could do the single XR15, but I would go the XR30 or maybe even Hydra 64, and that will cover the whole thing just fine.
Yeah. I think you can get away with 115. I would start with one, and if you think you need more later, add a second. And you're still about the same price you spend on 130.
Oh yeah, yeah, there you go. That's a great approach. The grow with me light.
I'm a huge fan of that, right? Because then you're not rebuying stuff. You just buy it once and you can keep growing.
Oh, I was talking about that today. Somebody asked for a very similar lighting question, actually, which is what should I use on a 60 cube? And it kind of went that route of like, well, start with this, and as you grow, because it's first tank, you never know how much you're going to progress and where you're going to be in 12, 15 months from now. So I did the exact same thing. So start him with the XR. Actually, no, it wasn't the XR. It was the Hydra 32, because he wanted aquilumation. So yeah, one Hydra 32, and I said if you're unhappy with it, just turn it sideways and grab yourself another one. And you're right up the cost that you'd be with one of the 64s.
I'm a big fan of just doing that approach. I don't know, because it can grow with you. It's more economical up front, and if you don't need it, it saves you money, right? So
yep.
All right, Jake V. I'm moving. I'll be adding new dry rock. Didn't have time to cure it, but I have plenty of cycled rock already in the tank. Will it throw everything off, or should it be relatively okay? You will have a mini cycle, and it will throw off some things. Assuming you have a sand bed, that's also a lot of bacteria that you're likely not moving and reusing, which I would not reuse it. So a good chunk of your bacteria is going to be on all the rock you're going to move, but you're also losing some, plus your new rock is going to have any. So you're going to have a mini cycle. I would probably just use like a bit of a bottle bacteria with it, just as preventative when you're moving it. And that will kind of help that nitrogen cycle and help seed the rest of your new stuff and kind of jumpstart it a bit.
Sure. Yeah. I think it would depend. Like, you talk about a mini cycle. What does that even mean? The new rock has to cycle. However, you've got a bacterial foundation in there. As long as you keep your old rock alive, you're still going to be able to like process ammonia, which is the thing we worry about in these situations. So I would say definitely like the ratio of how much new rock to old rock plays a lot in my decision of when I put the fish in there right away. But really just get yourself one of those ammonia alert badges and stick it on the tank, and hope for the best. It's really all you can do during your move,
And what do you do if you have
You can't
ammonia on your
because
alert badge?
it's not like you have other options.
What do you do? What are you gonna
I
do if
just
you have
went through it.
ammonia on the badge?
Huh?
What are you gonna do if your alert badge says you have ammonia?
Oh, right, yeah. I'm sorry, I thought you said I muted myself.
No,
I
no, no,
couldn't
no.
hear you. Yeah, what are you gonna do if ammonia alert badge? Water change and, add some Amquel.
That's why I'm a fan of just buying that bacteria because it's gonna help eat that ammonia up from the beginning.
Oh, I see where you're
Yeah.
getting with that. Yeah, no, adding, the lack of, you for sure add bacteria. No, it's gonna definitely do it. And especially if it's live, it's gonna process it that right away. So
It's a good
be all right.
preventative. All
Yeah.
right. Do bin im. I got ick or velvet in my tank. That is no fun. First group of fish didn't make it. How long should I leave my tank fishless before I add new fish? 76 days it takes for ick to fully life cycle and die off. So definitely wait it out for a bit if you did have velvet. 10-ish months now on the eShop sump in the lagoon. There don't seem to be many reviews on it out there. Sump is going strong. No complaints. It's still looking good. Things are down there. Probably due to give it a good cleaning because I haven't done that yet in 10 months. So other than a little bit of dirty in there, it's doing the job. No complaints. Doing well. Suzanne, what are the pros and cons of steel stands? There is no cons. They're only pros. I don't know. Maybe they're heavy. I don't know. They're still probably lighter than wood.
Yeah.
Pros, no center brace. That's by far the biggest pro there is because you don't have all these bars and supports in the middle. I have 6.5 feet of the tank beside me, no braces on it, just the corner post, which I love. So.
That is nice with 6.5 feet or just 6 feet in general. Yeah.
Yeah. So 100% recommend steel stands. Make sure you powder coat it. If you don't powder coat it, it's more likely to rust eventually. Powder coating kind of seals it all in, so it's a big preventative step. You could paint it, but eventually same thing, could rust, whatever. Where powder coating will be a lot better off.
Just lasts longer.
Yep, exactly. What light options do you pick for a 55-gallon tank? 48, 12 by 20. That really depends on your budget and a few things on that one. And what kind of corals you keep in there, Justin? So let us know on that one. Saint Nova. Devin, I'm overrun with aptasia and I'm gonna do new dry rock. How soon after the cycle can I add back my acro frags? So, tricky one. They say in general, once you see core line, you can add it. Now, I've also had acros living in a bucket of water with a power head and a heater and a light. So I don't think most corals are overly worried about the cycle. They are, however, worried about the stability of your alk and likely your nitrates and your phosphates. So when you cycle your tank, you generally end up with a bunch of nitrates at the end of it. As long as you did water changes or kept that in check and kept everything stable, you could probably add your acros in fairly quickly. This tank beside me, my frag tank's been up like a week, and I just moved most of my corals into it last night. So, but at the end of the day, it's just having that stability of kind of your key parameters.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you're coming from an aptasia problem too, and so I suppose when you're putting those coral back in, be mindful. There's likely going to be something somewhere on one of those frags, depending on how you clean them out. But I would say real quick, you can put them back in the water.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be that long.
Now, because you're fighting aptasia, it's likely on some of your frags and everything else. I would also recommend chopping off all your frag plugs because they're likely hiding on there as well.
Yeah.
And I spent like 4 or 5 hours my night last night going through all the frags I moved over. I dipped everything for like a 5-minute dip, and I cut off all the frag plugs, glued everything on new plugs just to make sure I wasn't transferring aptasia and other bits of nasty into the new tank.
Oh, wow. How many frags did you do? Like 100?
That's a good chunk.
Nice.
Good chunk. It was more just to get stuff in there than anything else, but yeah, lots and lots of work. How sensitive are Indo torches to light and flow? I don't think they're overly sensitive at all. I think Aussie Gold are more sensitive. Indo torches I find to be pretty hardy. Queen City Reefs, 3 XR15 G5s on a 5-foot peninsula, mainly LPS. Will this work? Yes, it 100% will. That's a pretty sweet setup.
What's that? The lights?
3 XR15s on a 5-foot peninsula, mainly
Oh, right.
LPS.
Yes.
Yeah, I like it. Thinking of 2 XR15s on my 36 by 22 tank, SPS dominant, just trying to decide pros or blues. That really just comes down to the look you like. If you like the crazy color pop, nightclub party, go for the blues. If you like more of a whiter, crisper look, go for the pros. Either one, you can get a similar look out of them, so it's not the end of the world which way you pick. But the blues will give you more par, higher output at that AB plus bluey spectrum, where the pros you can get that more extra par with more of a wider spectrum. So if you're not pushing them to the max, you can get a very, very similar look with either light.
Have you just done that visually, or is there I'm thinking like a match skew, but I guess you just
I had
like a to where it matches the lights. If you have two different ones, there's like an automatic setting that'll do it.
Yeah, so if you import the same schedule, it will match the colors that line up. So like one has the lime and the other has the cayenne or whatever. So like those ones will obviously will just probably turn those ones off. But at one point, I had G4s, pros, I had a blue, and I had the pros all on one tank. And I was able to make it look pretty much the same, where you couldn't really tell I had different lights on.
I was going to say, well, that was what I was asking is how did you do it? You just did it visually?
Visually, yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you can kind of get most of the way there with the sliders, but it's kind of like the fine-tuning it, which is, I think at that point, maybe, too, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, like, honestly, I don't think anyone would ever really notice a difference, so.
Right.
Are you going to do a video on your custom reactor setup? I think I did, but if not, sure, I'll do one. Pretty sure I did. Maybe I didn't.
How's that working out for you, bud?
Awesome,
Good?
amazing, love it.
Stable?
It is so stable. So I kind of went crazy, and I have my OCD about having a silent tank, right? So I sent him my S2 that I had to build onto it, so it has the little S2 as the pump on it. So it's like dead quiet, and this thing is like beast. It's made for like a 3 to 500 gallon tank, like it's a monster. So it is like so stable. Like my pH inside of it is like rock solid stable. Like it's crazy how much stability I have with this massive reactor.
Are you having to do anything to the tank in addition?
Nope.
You put mag in it, magnesium?
Nope.
No, you didn't? Oh.
Nope.
I always do that. I think it's just a force of habit now. I don't even know why I started. I think it was just an opportunity to do it, and then I've done it in 3 reactors since then, and it's always seemed to keep it spot on for me. I just use like anywhere from 15 to 25% mag media.
Oh yeah. Okay, sorry, I did do that. Yeah, like the magnesium rocks.
Right. Yeah.
They're inside of it.
Oh, got it. Perfect.
Yeah. So I have that in there, and then same thing. I just guessed on how much I need. I think my mag's a bit high, but whatever. Things are happy. And then I have the calcium reactor here, that other Cove one that I won off that Facebook contest a few months back. So that one, it's not even running yet, but it's all preloaded stuff.
You're gonna have to have like a central CO2 canister and run the line along your RO.
Oh,
fitting.
I know. I just bought another second tank, so I don't have to deal with that. But I got a 10-pound tank for each tank now, so it's just like, ugh.
Oh, that should be plenty. At least 12 months on each side, or each can.
You got a good year out of it, so it's not bad.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And then I'm trying the calc reactor now. So I haven't turned the calcium reactor on yet. I'm gonna see how the calc does first, and I'll probably add that in shortly. But I'm attempting this whole high pH thing and see how that goes.
That's cool that the Geos is keeping your big tank stable.
Oh, it's so stable. It is crazy. Like there's like 0.01 of the odd every like day, maybe like.
And you're feeding it with a Versa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's so far so good.
Yeah,
rolling strong.
Yeah, it's rock solid stable. It's great.
Nice, perfect. I'm excited to use those Versa pumps, man.
Oh, dude, they're awesome. I love them. And I got one feeding the calc reactor too. They're just so consistent and stable, right? And you're like, oh, my things are a little low. Open your phone, and you're like, oh, okay, let's up it 1 mil. Like super easy.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yep. Hello. What eats spinoid worms? I think that's what it is.
Spunids.
Is that a spaghetti worm or what is it?
They're just like those little
spaghetti monsters.
They curl. They they go in a circle, kind of. It's almost like a vermitid, but it's
Oh, those guys. Okay,
yeah.
I know which one you're talking about. I've
Here,
no.
you can pull it up. I want to say Mark Levinson has it on his website. Spionids. I always do like the BEA beautiful type pronunciation when I
Oh,
want to
those
remember
guys.
something.
Okay, so those are the little guys that. So Mark was like the first result on Google. So there you go. Good work, Mark.
Yeah.
So they're the guys with the little tubes that put out those little stringer things.
Yeah, they've got the little white spaghetti. Shoot, not spaghetti. Spaghetti is the yellow one.
Yeah.
The little white noodles that come out the end. There's 2 of them.
Yep. Okay. So this is quoted from milasreef.com. The interesting critters found in most reef tanks near the rockwork or in the substrate of the refugium. The worm, possibly spinoid, secretes a mucus to build its tube. With sand grains, 2 tubes are visible in the image and extends out 2 polyps for feeding. The worm itself is very small, 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch, but its tentacles can be up to 10 times longer than its body. This Cheta, I can never pronounce these. Ketoprid is considered reef safe, so not an issue. I have no idea what eats them. As for Astrina stars, there is a predator for those guys.
Oh, Harlequins.
Yeah, Harlequin shrimp.
Harlequin shrimp will eat Astrina starfish. Spinioid worm. I don't know if wrasses will eat them. I've never seen anything eat them, but
I don't think anything does that
it's
I know
hard.
of.
It's hard to pay attention to those because once you see them, you just kind of forget about them.
It's true. They're so tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Harlequin shrimp.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
It's okay. Super cool, beautiful little shrimp, and the only thing they eat is Astrina stars. So they're amazing, cool little shrimp, and they will definitely clear out your tank in probably a month or so. But then you got to find them a new home after that because you're gonna run out of a food source. If you have decorative starfish, I mean that's a no go, or you got to put in your sump
Man, they
somewhere
are
else.
so pretty.
They
There's
are.
a couple different ones, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're nice.
Yeah.
Oh, eating a chocolate chip starfish. That's crazy.
I'd
The
feel
killers
bad.
will just mow down a whole starfish.
I know.
I wonder what kind of naturally what kind of starfish are they eating? Like brittle stars, or because they're not big. So I
Anything they
guess
find.
Asterinas.
Yeah,
What?
I said anything they find. Like they'll easily
Yeah,
flip over a
yeah,
chocolate chip and be like, dinner, thank you.
yeah. I guess the starfish don't really have defenses.
Yep.
Can't really stop it.
I know. All right, Andy, how long until torches and Euphyllia start dropping in prices? Probably never.
Yeah, it's just like the I don't know housing market. You have highs and lows, but you never really see it go backwards. Essentially.
Yeah, your best bet is to just trade with people. That's the easiest way to go. I don't know. I sell Philly the cheap, but you're probably not local to me, so that doesn't help you. All Reef and Chill. All these people are asking for light recommendations for every tank imaginable. BRS has the videos. This is true. If you want to know a specific light, go look at it, and they'll tell you kind of the best spot to mount it and all that jazz to get your best bang per buck from it.
For sure, they
Awesome tool.
They did a lot of work. Randy did a lot of work putting in those tests, man. I mean, it's a straight week long of testing and evaluating each light. So kudos to him. He definitely did a great job. And then now it's the gift that keeps on giving, though, because now we have these solid references until new lights and new generations of things come out. And so it's just sort of exciting, to have this this criterion, something to go back and reference with. Just facts, it's nice to be able to be confident about what you're recommending and what you're saying will work.
Exactly.
And then just, have the confidence that lighting is not the hard part. Lighting is not an issue. You take out risks out of the equation, and it's so nice to have that sense of security, I suppose.
No, 100%. You know what height should it be? Get a rough idea what percentage. It sets you off to just be successful from the start.
Yeah, and there's none of this second guessing yourself and tinkering and making little, you can make 3 little adjustments throughout your first year that piss everything off, and you've just spent, the first 12 months of your tank, fighting corals that don't look that great, or constantly fighting yourself when all you had to do is probably just leave it alone.
Yep.
And then everything will adapt and come around. So
it's true.
I just think that is a nice aspect of having all of this out there.
Yeah, mess with it less. Set it and forget it. Unless you got to do it to your light.
For sure.
Yep. Malcolm's Reef. How can I clean algae from the base of a coral frag like Blastos? I would just dip the whole thing in hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah.
Would
I really wish. So peroxide definitely is great to kill stuff. But it's like the whole like what strength, what corals are going to handle peroxide, what corals are not. I know there's some things in there, but people are having great luck with it, which is cool. I'd say just cut it off the plug, but
Yeah, that's actually the easy solution.
yeah,
I
just break it off the plug.
I dipped every single zoa that went into my frag tank in peroxide just to kill off any algae, any bacteria, just everyone. 100% peroxide dip for about a minute, minute and a
Oh,
half.
that reminds me. Remember we were talking about like our DLI? Did you? I tagged you in a post.
Mm-hmm.
There was a guy that put up a bunch of par charts like per coral species. Did you see that?
I did not.
No, it's a bunch. Yeah, it's a bunch of images, and it has like major coral species or genre, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and then it has their, I'm assuming, natural par values. He didn't have any sort of he didn't really have much with it, so I asked him to get some details. But I tagged you
Oh, I'll take a
because
look
we talk
later.
about this DLI index,
Mm-hmm.
and this is like a start to that, for sure.
Perfect. I like it.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah. No, I'll definitely look at that later.
Yeah, I
Just
tagged you on Facebook. Yeah, I was on Facebook.
today is a crazy day, so I haven't put on much. But Justin Johnson. I've been thinking of a mixed reef LPS and softies in the 55. No budget, but deciding between 15s and Hydro 32s. I've never used Hydro 32s, but lots of people like them. Have you?
15 Hydro 32s. Yeah, I mean they're kind of they're different because they're two pucks, and you've got some minor differences, but yeah, I mean it's hard to say which one. We'll just go with whatever one you like the way it looks. You're both.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna have great success either way.
Mm-hmm.
The 32. I can't remember what Randy found in the light test, whether he got a better spread out of it, but it's going to be minimal, the differences in spread that you get with the Hydra, and the XR15s do a great job of blending that, or bending that light, I should say,
Yeah.
as was evident,
Mm-hmm.
in the investigates.
All right, Rita Reefer. What's the best bait for TN big mouth bass? This one's all you, Robert.
For Tennessee largemouth bass,
Yep.
what is the best bait? Oh man, a good attitude. You can't ask a fisherman what the best bait is.
You're like top secret.
Not live bait. How about anything fake?
Yeah.
Any fake lure. You gotta fool them, man. Fool me once, and I'll fool you again. Gosh, yeah, that's funny. Who asked that question?
Rita Reefer.
Oh, hi Rita. Thank you for your question.
Yep. Any idea how long the torch hammer fever will last? Forever. Torches are never going away. They're pretty. Are you pushing water to the reactor or pulling from with the Versa? I am pushing. I find reactors are quieter when you push water through them. When you're pulling, I don't know why, but I always find it's harder to get all the air out, and then the air makes noise.
I don't know. Yeah, I've always had problem with consistency on that, but it works for some.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm always a fan of pushing. It's parasolic pumps are better at pushing than they are at sucking, and I just find it's better for the reactor.
And I think that would have a lot to do with the pump and where you're putting it for sure. It's the type of pump you're using.
Exactly. Can Versa do continuous duty? Yes, it 100% can. Mine's been running 24/7 on my calcium reactor for months. Question: Brightwell mix at 7.3 DKH, 370 kel, 1280 meg. I used BRS calculator and added bicarb and calcium. Levels great at 9, 440. At 24 hours, at 48 hours, I'll get 7.7. Why?
So he didn't add enough carbonate or bicarbonate, obviously?
I don't know. I have never dosed my auto water or my water change water because I dosed the tank. I don't know. Basically, they added a bunch of dosing supplements to their mixing bin, and then after 48 hours, the levels dropped.
Oh, but probably precipitated. You probably added too much.
Yep.
I mean, you got to think that the water is, it's mixed to whatever parameters that they say it is, but it's like it's just come into solution, and then you go and dump a bunch of stuff in it. It probably has a high, it'll precipitate out real quick.
Yep. Oh, there you go. Too much, too fast. If you spread it apart, it might work better if it has more mixing time first, but
Yeah. That's a tough one. I've only ever added buffers, so like some carbonates to fresh salt water. I've never done like anything like calcium or adjusted mag or anything like that. It's always just I buffered it up a little bit and then I would put it in the tank and then correct the tank.
yeah.
Because the other, calcium and mag, like you got some wiggle room there with those ones. Whereas alkalinity, you don't.
Kirk, I dipped my zoas in peroxide 3 days ago. It's been closed ever since. So question is, what percentage of peroxide and how long do you dip it for? I generally, when I do it, I just use kind of like the 3%, whatever, just the standard issue stuff you find everywhere that's cheap. And you don't want to do a long dip. Like 2 minutes would be the maximum. Like a minute, minute and a half. It's kind of what you'd want to do.
And no, you don't mix it at all. It's just full strength, 3% or whatever the hydrogen peroxide right out the bottle.
Yep. Flags came out nice
Crazy,
and shiny
man.
afterwards.
Crazy, man. And I guess we really need to start recording this, man. Like, so we actually have like a reference. Like, just get a freaking Google Doc, and then like we can put the species of coral and like how they reacted. So, I mean, it's only as far as you can trust, Devin and I, but we're stand-up dudes.
Yeah, we're
I won't lie about it.
Yeah, we're legit. I'll tell you if it died.
yeah, exactly. Let's do that, Devin.
Okay, we can do it. I did an
Instagram
Instagram
dog
video
walk around back there.
Yeah,
he was trying to get in that door.
He does that.
Distracted me.
I know, what a guy. Hydra 32, 14-inch, ranked number 7 in the lighting top 20 from BRS. What pH are you targeting in your calcium reactor? Let me look. I think it's
6.5.
I think
6.5.
It's higher than that. I think it's 6.7.
8?
I can
6.8 or 6.5. The only two I've ever tried.
I think
6.5.
It's 6.7. pH CRX 6.71. Now, because the reactor is so big and there's so much media in it, I can get away with running it at a higher pH, which means higher pH for the tank. That was good. Another bonus of an oversized reactor. Do you believe cyano blooms are strictly from phosphate imbalance to nitrates? I don't really know what causes cyano, to be honest.
Well, cyanobacteria causes cyano.
Yeah, like it is a bacteria. It's in your tank. But what? No, it's well. Obviously, it has to come from cyano. But what are the conditions that let it thrive?
It's tough because they come. There's hard evidence, man, that they grow with elevated nutrients. They grow with zero nutrients. They go with backwards or unbalanced nutrients. Outside of your red field ratio, what we think is this, is a balanced nitrate to phosphate. Like cyano can be seen in those conditions, and I think it's just a matter of without having a way to like see your microbiology in your tank, like you have to catalog it, I think. And I think there definitely needs to be some more science around, we got to stop calling it beneficial bacteria and like what bacteria is it, nitrosomas and there are, some identifications here, but I think there could be a much clearer understanding of the micro universe in the tank, specifically as it pertains to bacteria, or at least can be applied to an aquarium application, so we can all better understand these situations and how you get there, Our
tanks are just boxes of bacteria.
Boxes of bacteria, man.
Yeah, man. It's just like the slow motion battle of the good versus the bad bacteria.
I keep trying to think about what fishing lure is my favorite. Yeah, probably swim baits. Rita, if you're still there, swim baits.
Swim baits?
I like to throw a swim bait.
Nice.
Those are my favorite.
Yep. Luke, what are the dangers of a pH higher than 8.2? I don't think 8.2 is an issue. It's a happy place to be. I think more like 8.5 or 6. I would start.
Yeah, 8.5 is the number I've gotten scared and just done a water change. Add vinegar, you can if you need to.
I've never been that high.
Yeah.
I don't know these things.
The tank, so I just did a water change.
Yeah, perfect. There you go. Although I'm curious to see what this calc reactor does now, so we'll see. All right, Robert. If you guys got any last minute questions, let me know. I know we're not going to go too long today. One, because my food in the oven's probably close to being done. And I can.
I'm hungry too. I am hungry. I just got a little snack.
I'm starved. My day's been nuts. I don't think I've eaten today.
Any more questions? Let's see. In my messenger. No, no questions in Messenger.
That's what I did. An experiment in correcting the imbalance did make it go away. Yeah, so there is something off with the balance, probably leading to cyano. Same thing with dinos. Like a lot of that stuff, just something's out of whack in your tank, right?
Yeah, it's
The
a
theory is
real popular way
nutrients.
to describe it is unbalanced. I use the word unbalanced or, unmanaged. We definitely see some congruency, especially with this whole, you know, dinoflagellite revolution where everybody's, I don't know. I guess we are seeing an increased number of cases, but I think too in days past it was just something we like. Oh, that's part of the ugly stage, and oh, that's. I mean, dinos existed then too,
Mm-hmm.
and I think now we're just coming around to the fact that like we can understand these things and we can document what causes them and the things that fix them. And then even with dinoflagellates, you've got different species and different conditions that lead to every which one. So
Mm-hmm.
is purple cyanobacteria like your phosphates above 0.1, and then does a red or green cyano like it below 0.1?
You know, I've
Certain situations that are going to cause differences.
I've never had an issue with the red ones. I've only ever had the green cyano.
Really, that's
Yeah,
weird.
I know.
I've only like in a saltwater tank. I mean, I've
Mm-hmm.
seen the green and black in freshwater tanks,
Mm-hmm.
but in all my saltwater tank, yeah, it's always the red purple.
Yeah,
It's like a deep red color.
yeah, weird, eh? I know.
So you get the bright green stuff,
I've had it a couple
snotty with
times.
bubbles in it.
Yeah, but it'd be like on the sand bed, right? But I've never had red ones like
Yeah,
carpeting my sand
I
bed.
shouldn't say I've never had like a ton of it. I have seen it. I've cleaned it out of a tank for sure,
Mm-hmm.
but it did not stick around. The green specifically.
Yeah. Well, that's good. No one needs it. All
Yeah.
right, guys. Hopefully, we answered all your questions. Not seeing any new ones for the last couple minutes, so a little bit of a shorter one today. If you guys enjoyed it, as always, hit that thumbs up button. And if you have any questions you want us to dig into on a future Q&A, feel free to ask below in the comments, and Robert and I will hit them up on a future episode.
Sounds good. Thank you, Devin. I had fun. Thank you everybody for joining us. We'll see you in 4 weeks' time.
Sounds good, guys.
Bye now.
Have a good night.